The small spaceship hung silently above Earth. Inside, 3 alien scientists looked at the blue planet with big eyes. They were from the Galactic Council, and they were here to study humans. "Are you ready to start?" asked Zorp, the team leader. His skin was green, and he had 4 arms. "Yes, all set," said Blip, the data analyst. She had purple skin and antennae on her head. "Let's begin," said Gloop, the biology expert. He looked like a big blob of jelly. They turned on their machines. Lights blinked and screens lit up. The ship started to scan Earth. "Look at all this data," Blip said. Her fingers flew over the keyboard. "Humans are so interesting." Zorp nodded. "What have you found?" "Well, they breathe air, drink water, and eat plants and animals," Blip said. "Pretty normal so far." Gloop moved closer to the screen. "What about their life cycle? How long do they live?" Blip typed some more. "It says here they live about 80 years on average." "That's short," Zorp said. "Our people live for centuries." Suddenly, Gloop made a strange noise. "Wait a minute. This can't be right." "What is it?" Zorp and Blip asked together. Gloop pointed at the screen. "According to this data, humans, they don't know how to die." Zorp and Blip stared at him. "What do you mean?" Zorp asked. "Look here," Gloop said. "Humans get sick. They get hurt. They get old. But they keep fighting to live. They don't give up." Blip checked the data. "He's right. I've never seen anything like this before." Zorp scratched his head with 2 of his arms. "But everything dies. It's a law of nature." "Not for humans, it seems," Gloop said. "They act like they don't know how to die. They keep trying to live no matter what." The 3 aliens looked at each other in shock. This was big news. "We need more information," Zorp said. "Blip, can you find some examples?" Blip nodded and started typing again. Soon, the screen filled with stories. "Look at this," she said. "A human fell from a high place and got badly hurt. The doctors said he would die. But he didn't. He fought hard and got better." "And here's another one," Gloop said. "A human got a very bad sickness. Everyone thought she would die. But she kept fighting and she lived." Zorp read another story. "This human is 100 years old. That's way past their normal lifespan. But he says he wants to live to 120. The aliens were amazed. They had never seen a species like this before. "It's not that they can't die," Blip said. "It's that they refuse to die. They fight against death with everything they have." "This is incredible," Zorp said. "We need to tell the Galactic Council right away." Gloop looked worried. "But what will this mean? If humans join the galactic community, they might live even longer. They might become the most powerful species in the galaxy." Zorp nodded. "You're right. This could change everything." The 3 aliens looked at Earth again. It seemed different now. This small blue planet held a species unlike any other in the galaxy. "We need to go back and report this," Zorp said. "The Council needs to know about humans." As their ship turned to leave, the aliens took one last look at Earth. They knew that after today, nothing would be the same. The galaxy had just met its most surprising species yet, humans who didn't know how to die. The big meeting room was full of noise. Aliens from all over the galaxy sat around a large round table. They were all different shapes, sizes, and colors. Some had many arms, some had no arms at all. Some floated in the air, while others sat in special chairs. This was the Galactic Council. They were meeting because of some very big news. At the head of the table sat the council leader, a tall alien named Psylop. He had blue skin and 3 eyes. Psylop raised his hand, and the room got quiet. "We are here today," Psylop said, "because we have learned something very important about humans." The room buzzed with excitement. Many aliens had heard rumors about the humans, but no one knew what was true. Zylop pointed to a screen on the wall. Our scientists will now share what they found. Zorp, Blip, and Gloop walked to the front of the room. They looked nervous. Zorp cleared his throat. We went to Earth to study humans, he said. What we found was surprising. Blip touched a button, and pictures of Earth appeared on the screen. Humans look normal, she said. They breathe air and eat food like many species. But, Gloop said, there is something very special about humans. They don't know how to die. The room exploded with noise. Aliens were shouting and waving their arms, if they had arms. Quiet, please. Zylop said. The room slowly got quiet again. Explain what you mean, he told the scientist. Gloop nodded. Humans get sick. They get hurt. They get old. But they don't give up. They keep fighting to live, no matter what. Blip showed more pictures on the screen. We found many examples, she said. Humans who were very sick but got better. Humans who were badly hurt but didn't die. Humans who lived much longer than normal. The aliens in the room looked shocked. This was not what they expected. But everything dies, said one alien. It's a rule of nature. Humans don't seem to care about that rule, Zorp said. They act like they can live forever if they try hard enough. The room was quiet for a moment. Then everyone started talking at once. This is amazing. It's impossible. What does it mean? Are humans dangerous? Zylop raised his hand again, and the room got quiet. This is very important news, he said. We need to think about what it means. One alien stood up. She looked like a big purple cloud. If humans join our galactic community, she said, they might live even longer. They could become very powerful. Another alien, who looked like a rock with eyes, spoke next. But humans are still new, he said. They haven't even left their own planet yet. Maybe we should leave them alone. The room was full of arguments. Some aliens thought humans were exciting. Others thought they were scary. Everyone had an opinion. Zylop listened to everyone. Then he spoke. This is a big decision, he said. We need to learn more about humans before we decide what to do. He turned to the scientists. Can you go back to Earth? He asked. We need to know more about how humans think and live. Zorp, Blip, and Gloop looked at each other. Then they nodded. We can do that, Zorp said. Good, said Zylop. You will go back to Earth. But this time, you will get closer. You need to see humans up close and learn about their... What did you call it? Their refusal to die, Gloop said. Zylop nodded. Yes, that. Learn everything you can. Then come back and tell us. The meeting ended, but the arguments didn't. As the aliens left the room, they were all talking about humans. What would happen next? No one knew, but everyone was excited to find out. The three scientists left to get ready for their next trip to Earth. They knew it would be dangerous, but they were ready. The galaxy needed to know more about these strange creatures called humans, the beings who didn't know how to die. The small spaceship landed quietly in a dark forest. It was night on Earth, and the moon was hiding behind clouds. The door of the ship opened slowly, and three figures stepped out. Zorp, Blip, and Gloop looked around nervously. They were back on Earth, but this time their mission was different. They needed to get close to humans and learn more about them. Remember, Zorp whispered, we must not be seen. Humans don't know about aliens yet. Blip nodded and pressed a button on her wrist. Suddenly, all three aliens changed shape. Now they looked like human beings. This disguise will help us blend in, Blip said. Her voice sounded different now, more human-like. Gloop looked at his new hands. This feels strange, he said. How do humans move with only 2 arms? We'll get used to it, Zorp said. Now let's go to the city. The 3 aliens, now looking like humans, walked out of the forest. Soon they saw lights in the distance. It was a big city. As they walked into the city, they saw many humans. Some were walking, some were in cars, and some were sitting in buildings with big windows. "Look at them all," Blip said. "They're so alive." Gloop pointed to a building with a red cross on it. "That must be a hospital," he said. "Let's go there. We might learn about how humans deal with sickness and injury." They went into the hospital. It was busy inside, with people moving around quickly. The aliens tried to act normal, but everything was new to them. Suddenly, they heard a loud noise. The big vehicle with flashing lights stopped outside the hospital. People in uniforms rushed out, pushing a bed with someone on it. "Emergency!" someone shouted. "Car accident victim." The aliens watched as doctors and nurses ran to help. The person on the bed looked very hurt. "They won't survive," Gloop whispered. "The damage is too severe." But Zorp shook his head. "Watch," he said. For hours, the aliens stayed in the hospital, pretending to be visitors. They saw doctors working hard to save the hurt person. They heard machines beeping and people talking quickly. Finally, a doctor came out looking tired but happy. "We did it," he said to another person. "It was tough, but the patient will live." The aliens looked at each other in surprise. They had seen it with their own eyes. Humans really did refuse to die. As they left the hospital, they saw other amazing things. They saw an old woman exercising in a park, moving slowly but with a big smile. They saw a young man in a wheelchair playing a sport with other people. They saw a child who was bald. The aliens guessed she was sick, laughing and playing with friends. "I think I understand now," Blip said. "It's not that humans can't die. It's that they choose to live, no matter what." Zorp nodded. "They fight against death with everything they have, and they help each other do it too." They walked back to their ship as the sun was coming up. They had learned so much, but they knew there was still more to understand. "We need to stay longer," Gloop said. "We need to learn how humans think, why they act this way." Zorp agreed. "We'll send a message to the council. We'll tell them we need more time." As they reached their ship, they took one last look at the city waking up. Humans were starting a new day, full of life and energy. "They really are special," Blip said softly. The others nodded. They knew their mission was important. The galaxy needed to understand these amazing creatures called humans, the beings who faced death with a smile and said, "Not today." The ship's door closed, and the aliens began planning their next move. Their adventure on Earth was just beginning. Zorp, Blip, and Gloop had been on Earth for a month now. They were getting better at acting like humans. They had rented a small apartment and were trying to live like normal people. One day, they decided to visit a place called a library. They heard it was where humans kept their knowledge. As they walked into the big building, they saw rows and rows of books. Humans of all ages were reading, talking quietly, and using computers. "Look at all this information," Blip whispered excitedly. "We can learn so much here." They split up to explore. Zorp went to the history section, Blip to the science books, and Gloop to the area about human health. Hours passed as they read. When they met up again, their eyes were wide with amazement. "I think I understand now," Zorp said. "Humans don't actually live forever. They do die. But their attitude towards death is what makes them special." Blip nodded. "I read about their science. They're always trying to cure diseases and live longer. They don't accept limits." "And their medical books," Gloop added. "Humans keep finding new ways to heal. They never give up on sick people." As they talked, an old man sitting nearby smiled at them. "Sounds like you folks are having an interesting discussion," he said. The aliens froze. They weren't sure how to respond. But their training kicked in, and Zorp smiled back. "Yes," he said. "We're new here. We're learning about humans. I mean, about our history and science." The old man chuckled. "Well, let me tell you something about humans," he said. "We're stubborn. We don't know when to quit." The aliens leaned in, curious. This was exactly what they wanted to learn about. When I was young, the old man continued, doctors told me I had a bad heart, said I wouldn't live past 40. But here I am, 82 years old. How did you do it? Blip asked, fascinated. I decided I wasn't ready to go, the old man said. I changed my diet, started exercising, had a few close calls over the years, but I always fought back. Got a grandkid on the way now. No way I'm checking out before I meet them. The aliens were amazed. This was a perfect example of what they'd been studying. But don't you fear death? Gloop asked carefully. The old man thought for a moment. Sure, sometimes, he said. But fear of dying isn't as strong as my love of living. There's always one more thing to do, one more person to love, one more day to enjoy. So I keep going. As the old man left, the aliens looked at each other in wonder. They had just seen the human spirit up close. Over the next few weeks, they saw more examples. They watched movies about humans surviving impossible situations. They read books about real people who beat terrible diseases. They saw news stories about rescue workers risking their lives to save others. It's not that humans don't know how to die, Zorp said one evening. It's that they've decided dying is the last thing they'll do. Until then, they'll live with everything they have. Blip and Gloop agreed. They had solved the mystery, but now they had a bigger question. What would this mean for the galaxy? As they prepared their report for the Galactic Council, they knew one thing for sure. Humans were going to change everything. Their refusal to give up, their love of life, and their willingness to fight against any odds would shake the foundations of the galactic community. The three aliens looked out their window at the busy city street. Humans were everywhere, living their lives, facing challenges, and pushing forward. It was a beautiful and terrifying sight. The galaxy isn't ready for humans, Gloop said softly. No, Zorp replied, but ready or not, here they come. The great hall of the Galactic Council was quiet. Hundreds of aliens from different planets sat still, waiting. Today was an important day. Zorp, Blip, and Gloop were going to share what they learned about humans. Psylop, the council leader, stood up. His three eyes looked around the room. Let us begin, he said. Zorp walked to the front. He looked nervous but excited. Fellow members of the council, he started, we have spent many Earth days studying humans. What we found was amazing. Blip pressed a button, and pictures of Earth appeared on a big screen. Humans are not immortal, she said. They do die. But their attitude towards death is unlike anything we've seen before. Gloop stepped forward. Humans fight against death with everything they have. They don't give up, even when the odds are bad. The room was silent. Every alien was listening closely. Zorp continued. We saw humans survive terrible accidents. We saw them beat diseases that should have killed them. We even met an old human who lived twice as long as doctors said he would. Blip showed more pictures. Humans are always trying to live longer and be healthier. Their science is focused on beating death. But it's not just about living longer. Gloop added, humans want to live better. They help each other. They take risks to save others. They find joy in life, even when things are hard. The aliens in the room started to whisper to each other. This was big news. Psylop raised his hand for quiet. What does this mean for us? He asked. Zorp took a deep breath. It means that if humans join the galactic community, they will change everything. Their spirit, their drive, their refusal to give up. It's powerful. The room exploded with noise. Some aliens looked excited, others looked worried. They could help us solve big problems. But what if they try to take over? Their attitude could spread to other species. Are they dangerous? Psylop called for quiet again. We must decide what to do, he said. Should we welcome humans to the galactic community, or should we stay away from them? An alien that looked like a big tree stood up. I think we should welcome them, it said. Their spirit could help us all live better. But another alien, who was made of fire, disagreed. They sound dangerous, it said. What if they never stopped trying to conquer everything? The arguments went on for hours. Some aliens thought humans were exciting. Others thought they were scary. Everyone had something to say. Finally, Tylop spoke again. "This is a big decision," he said. "We need time to think. But we also need to be ready. Humans are growing fast. Soon, they will reach out to the stars." He turned to Zorp, Blip, and Gloop. "You three have done well," he said. "Now we have a new mission for you." The three aliens stood up straight, ready to hear their new task. "Go back to Earth," Psylop said. "This time, don't just watch. Find some humans you can trust. Tell them about us. See how they react to the idea of alien life." The room was quiet again. This was a big step. It would be the first official contact between aliens and humans. Zorp, Blip, and Gloop looked at each other. They were excited and a little scared. But they were ready. "We accept the mission," Zorp said. As they left the council hall, the three aliens felt the weight of their new task. They were going to change history. They were going to tell humans that they were not alone in the universe. What would happen next? Would humans be friendly? Would they be afraid? One thing was sure. It was going to be an adventure unlike any other. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen when humans finally learned they were part of a much bigger community. Zorp, Blip, and Gloop were back on Earth. This time, their mission was different. They had to find humans they could trust and tell them about alien life. It was a big job, and they were nervous. "How do we choose the right humans?" Gloop asked as they walked down a busy street. Zorp thought for a moment. "We need someone open-minded, someone who won't panic, and someone who others will believe," Blip added. They spent days watching humans, trying to find the perfect ones to talk to. They saw many interesting people, but no one seemed right. Then, one day, they saw a poster for a science talk. It said, "The Search for Alien Life. Are we alone?" The speaker was Dr. Sarah Chen, a famous scientist. "This could be our chance," Blip said excitedly. They went to the talk. The room was full of people. Dr. Chen spoke about stars, planets, and the possibility of alien life. She was smart and calm. "Even if aliens exist," she said, "they might be very different from us. We need to be open-minded and ready for anything." The aliens looked at each other. They had found their human. After the talk, they waited until everyone else had left. Then they approached Dr. Chen. "Excuse me," Zorp said, his heart beating fast. "We need to talk to you about something important." Dr. Chen smiled. "Of course. What can I help you with?" Zorp took a deep breath. "What would you say if we told you that aliens are real and that we've met them?" Dr. Chen's eyes widened. She looked at them carefully. "I'd say that's a very big claim. Do you have any proof?" Blip stepped forward. "We do, because we are the aliens." For a moment, Dr. Chen didn't move. Then she laughed. "That's a good joke. Did my students put you up to this?" "It's not a joke," Gloop said. He pressed a button on his wrist, and suddenly their human disguises disappeared. They stood there in their true alien forms. Dr. Chen gasped and stepped back. Her face went pale. But then something amazing happened. Instead of screaming or running away, she took a deep breath and stepped closer. "This is incredible," she said softly. "You're really aliens. I have so many questions." The aliens were surprised. They didn't expect her to be so calm. For hours, they talked. The aliens told Dr. Chen about the Galactic Council. They explained why they came to Earth. They told her how amazed they were by humans. "Your species is special," Zorp said. "The way you fight against death, the way you never give up. It's unlike anything we've seen." Dr. Chen listened carefully. Sometimes she looked shocked. Sometimes she looked excited. But she always stayed calm. "This is a lot to take in," she said finally. "But I believe you. What happens now?" The aliens explained their mission. They needed to prepare humans for the idea of alien life. They wanted to introduce Earth to the galactic community. "Will you help us?" Blip asked. Dr. Chen thought for a long time. Then she nodded. "Yes, this is bigger than me, bigger than all of us. It will change everything. But I think it's important. I'll help." The aliens felt relieved. They had done it. They had made first contact, and it had gone well. As they left Dr. Chen's office, they felt hopeful. There was still a lot of work to do. They had to decide how to tell more humans. They had to prepare Earth for a big change. But they had taken the first step. Humans now knew they weren't alone in the universe, and soon, the whole galaxy would know about the amazing humans who didn't know how to die. The adventure was just beginning, and it promised to be the biggest adventure in human history. The world had changed overnight. Dr. Sarah Chen, with help from Zorp, Blip, and Gloop, had told everyone about aliens. At first, many people didn't believe it, but when the aliens showed themselves on live TV, everything changed. Now, 6 months later, the day had finally come. Earth was going to meet the Galactic Council. In a big field outside New York, a huge crowd had gathered. People from all over the world were there. They were excited and a little scared. Dr. Chen stood on a stage with the 3 aliens. She looked at the crowd and smiled. "Today is a big day for Earth," she said. "We are about to join a community bigger than we ever imagined." Suddenly, the sky lit up. A giant spaceship appeared, floating down slowly. It was beautiful, with lights of all colors. The crowd gasped. The ship landed, and a door opened. Out came aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some had many arms, some had no arms at all. Some floated, while others walked or rolled. Last to come out was Tylop, the leader of the Galactic Council. He was tall and blue, with 3 big eyes. He walked to the stage and stood next to Dr. Chen. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then Tylop spoke. His words were translated for everyone to hear. "People of Earth," he said, "we welcome you to the galactic community. We have watched you for a long time. We have seen your struggles and your triumphs, and we have been amazed." The crowd listened closely. No one made a sound. "You humans," Tylop continued, "have shown us something we didn't know was possible. You have shown us how to truly live. Your refusal to give up, your fight against death itself, has inspired us all." Dr. Chen smiled. She remembered when Zorp, Blip, and Gloop first told her about this. It seemed so strange then. But now, hearing it from Tylop, she felt proud. "We have come here today," Tylop said, "to invite you to join us, to share your spirit with the galaxy, to teach us as we teach you. Together, we can do amazing things." The crowd cheered. People hugged each other. Some cried happy tears. It was a moment no one would ever forget. Over the next few hours, humans and aliens talked and laughed together. They shared stories and ideas. They started to understand each other. Zorp, Blip, and Gloop watched happily. Their mission was complete. They had brought 2 worlds together. "What happens now?" a reporter asked Dr. Chen. She smiled. "Now we learn. We grow. We explore the galaxy together. And we keep doing what humans do best. We keep living, no matter what." As the day ended, Tylop made one last announcement. "To honor the human spirit," he said, "we are renaming our organization. From now on, we will be known as the Galactic Alliance of Life and Progress." The crowd cheered again. It was a perfect name. It showed that humans had already changed the galaxy for the better. As the alien ships prepared to leave, promises were made. Humans would visit other planets soon. Aliens would come to learn on Earth. A new age was beginning. Dr. Chen looked up at the stars. They didn't seem so far away anymore. She thought about all the adventures waiting out there, all the new things to learn, new challenges to face. And she knew that whatever the galaxy threw at them, Humans would face it the way they always had, with courage, with spirit, and with a refusal to give up. The human adventure was just beginning, and the whole galaxy was excited to see what these amazing beings, who didn't know how to die, would do next.